All right, welcome back. This is actually the end of April, which is insane. And our last guest of April is Emmai Alaquiva. And your name has been mispronounced by about 1 billion people. And I always find it really interesting because I always think that's the t-shirt. It's May, and then all of the different pronunciations that are wrong of your last name, which I think
that would be super duper fresh. So let's get it popping, all right? So my first name is 3 syllables. Emmai. 3 syllables, not 2 syllables. A lot of people are like Emmai. No, it's not like eBay when you go on and shop for stuff. It's May. And then once people sort of get used to just saying the name, the E becomes, more and more silent, but it makes a difference. Especially how people partition the name. When people say Emmai, they really partition the E in the May. And they forget the E at the end. So Emmai, and the last name is Alaquiva. Boom, there you have it.
But I really think the t-shirt that's going to take off is like how horrible people pronounce it. But I find it very, because Kirsten, my niece, she's been in programs. She's an oboist. Programs. It's all wrong. And so her dad at times will be like, Kristen, could you please come here?
Wow. That's hilarious. Yeah, I think that t-shirt idea is super duper fresh. I think I might put you ahead of the marketing department.
There it is.
And branding initiatives. That would be fresh.
We'll work on it.
And of course, one of the more recent fumbles of my last name was Alaquiva or something like that.
It was so bad, but I was laughing so hard. I was like, this is so awful. I mean, it's almost like,
how's that even possible?
Yeah, did they intentionally screw it, or am I not paying any kind of attention to how things are spelled? But I did that, and I will tell you why I think about it all the time, because I misspelled your first name wrong the first time I emailed you. I think I only had one M, or I changed the A or the E. I can't remember.
It's all good. Your heart was there. So that's why I don't get offended by these fumbles of names. It's because I know people's heart is like really in it. I mean, but Alaquipa, Aqua Velvet, Aquafina, Aloof Quifa, you know what I mean? I'll take them all, because regardless of how you mispronounce it, people know that, they must be talking about Emmai.
Yeah,
it's true.
Absolutely true. So let's talk about what has been going on. So not only are you a director, you've produced a lot of your own stuff, but you're also really entwined with, and you're an artist. I would think that you probably recognize or associate yourself more as an artist, and you kind of go through all of these different genres. Rather than you're just one thing. And I do want to talk, so there's a couple things that I want to talk about. One, I want to talk about Optic Voices, because that was the Holocaust exhibit that you did that was beautiful, but then you're also doing it now. So, I mean, this thing has legs, and I think this thing is going to go on forever, because it's always going to be stuff so that you're shooting that.
Yes.
And you did the video with your friends, Grown Folks, which was
Grown Folks.
And then you're hanging out with the Roots virtually. So we talked a little bit about that, but also you have a beautiful daughter, Michaela.
Yes.
How old is she?
Michaela's 8 right now. She's really coming into her own. She did her first storyboard with a Christmas video, this past Christmas. She's like, hey, Dad, check it out. When I wake up, I want you and Chewy, which is our hip hop dog. I want you and Chewy to come up, on my top bunk bed. I want you to get me out, and then we're going to make breakfast, and then I want you to film from this angle. And I'm just like blown away that she has these components to be able to put together something that, is expressive. And she has this artistic expression. She's doing modeling now. She just did an episode of Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. She's one of the sweater kids. She's about to film a commercial for CBS Network coming up here in May. They're writing the script for her now. So when it comes, when I was 8, I was playing with He-Mans, and these little electronic football men are about maybe this big. So to see her really come into her own artistically has been absolutely phenomenal.
And she's totally smart and so like intuitive, because she's hung out with you. You bring her places.
Right.
Oh,
You make
absolutely, for
she's like
sure.
yourself. But she's also at this point taller than me. I just saw a picture of her and I was like, she's gonna be like you. She's a tall drink of water.
Yo, absolutely. She was recently very excited about a pair of pajamas.
What's not to
And
be excited about?
yes, I mean we go shopping, at this store, and she's like, "Oh, Dad, I'll clean up the room like maybe 3 times in one day if I can get these pajamas." And like, we're walking around, she's negotiating these pajamas, and I look at these pajamas. It's a whole one piece. It
Are they
comes with this,
tie-dye?
huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw them.
Yeah, it comes with this hoodie that when she puts it over, it's like this unicorn, and then she has these matching slippers, and I captured a photo that's on social media now of her in the kitchen jumping literally in midair with these pajamas. So it's just been outstanding to be a father and to be a leader and someone that provides her with direction, and to have her to have that much of a sponge of a soul and a spirit for what her parents provide is amazing.
Yeah, she's beautiful, and she's beautiful. I mean, I don't
Thank
want
you.
to, but she's very smart and very aware. I would think
Yes.
anytime you've ever brought her anywhere, she's sponge.
And is it
Okay.
hard juggling being a dad and also like running all of your like work endeavors, businesses, things
No,
like that?
no, not at all. Because if you think about it, if you think about it, when you do what you love, okay, and I'm not trying to sound like some fortune cookie, but let's keep it 100. You live longer when you do what you love, okay. You slowly kill yourself if you are out there doing something that you hate every single every single day. There's a saying that I say, don't commit suicide, commit duicide. Don't kill yourself, fulfill yourself. And I've been able to fulfill myself and to create duicide by really capturing the essence of taking this art and helping to change people's lives while doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you don't work, fatherhood is automatic. It almost becomes a part of the passion or a part of the navigation of what makes your heart beat every single day, right?
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of artists and individuals need to realize and recognize is, how do we go within and find what we love doing every single day? Because once you find that love, everything that orbits around you becomes part of that ecosystem of happiness. In fatherhood, in workhood, has become an incredible marriage that keeps me alive.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
That's awesome. I'd play that for her and be like, here's why I do what I do. But I'm
Exactly.
sure, I'm sure
Exactly.
hey, you'll remind her that when she's 16.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about let's talk about Optic Voices, because I just saw this start popping in the last couple weeks. So you took out your camera and started shooting. What made you start to do that?
Well, great question. Of course, my love for film started with trying to do videos for my arts education program called Hip Hop Unlocked that I co-founded. And when I would hire these students in these other organizations to create these small music videos for these kids that were expressing themselves, they weren't getting it right. So I said, what camera did you use? Oh, what microphone was that? Oh, whoa, what lighting thing was that? And then I just went out, purchased a camera and, a little bit of lighting. And then I began to shoot these videos myself to really put in the thousands of words that it really takes this image to become, the 1,000 words, per image. So from film, I wanted to get into the art of photography, because if you think of film in motion film, the reason why it's called motion picture is because it's a combination of pictures being smashed together as a millisecond that creates that motion. That's why it's called motion picture. So what if I extract motion and then I populate the picture? And that's when I said, let me start grabbing some of these frames, because some of these frames actually tell better stories than the motion picture. So I began to start, just being, just being free about it. I didn't read any manuals. I never went to any school for any photography, for any film, for any music. Let's just dive in and use passion be our guide with whatever it is that we do. So when I started to grab these pictures, I started to study how things were framed. What is the real estate that occupies the frame? Is it leaned over here? Is the subject maybe over here? Or is the subject like this? Because even the position of the subject inside of the frame tells a story.
Right.
And I began to fall in love with those key components and not look at it as a mistake. If I took the wrong picture. Because if you frame it or crop it right, it could still tell a story. So that's really what gave me my start with Optic Voices, going to a Black Lives Matter rally and recognizing the equity that is in the arts. Don't just take photos for the gram, take photos for the generation. And that's where I'm focused on, taking photography for generations to come.
So you did that with Black Lives Matter, you did it with the Holocaust survivors, and then you're doing it now, and you're shooting your community, I would think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Out in your
absolutely.
And so I was like, I wonder if this is like what you're seeing every day, or you're traveling. I didn't know where you were in terms of spatial.
So Optic Voices COVID, it's just, called now. There's really no name for it yet, but literally I've been taking a matter of 2 hours out of each day.
Okay.
And out of 2 hours of each day, I have no GPS. In my passenger seat, I don't have GPS. Velcro, on top of my AC vents. I literally get in the car for about 2 hours a day, and I just literally just go wherever the spirit is going to take me. And then I see so many miraculous and palpable images and stories of people just walking, people riding a bike after getting $500 worth of groceries from the co-op, driving. I see individuals who are pushing a cart with everything that they have to their name inside of that cart as they push down the street, as people stare. I see masks that are engineered and constructed out of material you would have no idea what it was. But guess what? Creatively, they created a mask and they feel protected. So I've been taking these images and just storing them off to the side. And, when I take these days to go in to see these images, my mind is blown what people are doing, at a time like this, and how we're all moving around this situation.
Right.
And, there's a combination of emotion of sad, there's a combination of high frequency and happiness, but people are tired of these commercials with this minor key piano and all these slow motion shots in 60 to 100 frames per second, talking about, oh, we will get through this. The time is now. Reach out your hand. No, we want to start getting into the major key of things. We already understand that we've been hit, but how are we going to get out of this? And how are we going to come out better tomorrow than we ever were yesterday?
When you talk about, because it's so true, we talk about this all the time, and it's like, if I hear one more time, we're in this
period.
Because it's like, we're all dealing with this at the same time, but no one's together. Like no one together. And it's like, you have all of these communities that are separated.
Yeah.
And you just go, wow, this is really screwed. Like, this is really screwed up. Like, this messaging is so screwed up. But yeah, you're right about the minor key. That is so funny.
Listen, I don't want to hear another minor key piano. and the thing is, They either use two instruments for these commercials, either the piano or the strings.
Yes, so true.
Well, you've always had an eye for getting like people to, express themselves to you, no matter what. I think that's a huge talent of yours. It's not easy to do. But have you felt like people have been, I know you probably aren't like in their face or right up there, but have you felt that people are like still wanting to share their stories in that way and open up, or are they a little more like regressed a little bit right now?
No, you would be surprised. Shout out to Mark Dixon, my man, 50 grand. Matter of fact, my man, 100 grand. Let me just double that.
All right.
Mark Dixon was the individual that I caught in the intersection of Penn Avenue and North Braddock.
Okay.
And he purchased $500 of groceries because he hasn't been out for weeks. And this guy has like he's got the miner, like somebody who's going into a mine. He has this mask with like the 500 different contraptions on his face. He's got this helmet. He's got this whole complete outfit, that's like comes out of the movie 28 Days. And meanwhile, he's on his bike. So he's very eco-conscious, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when he saw me taking a photo, and you're right, I'm not in these people's faces.
Right.
I had my long Toucan Sam lens, my 70 to 200 lens, so I could be off in the cut and not necessarily, it's like my sniper. I could just bow, bow, bow.
Right.
But he noticed me. And at that time, I didn't know it was Mark. I didn't know it was Mark until Mark went home and posted on Facebook. I'm not sure if he saw me. But when I grabbed that photo of him, you know what he did? And as he pedaled past me, you know what else he did?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So people understand, and this is what I want people who are watching in the audience to know. As artists, it's our responsibility to document the times. No, you might hate a camera. You might hate a video being there. You might hate somebody coming in with like a cassette recorder, whatever the case is. But we have to document what these mistakes are. And you'll never learn, we'll never learn from a mistake, or we'll never learn the value of a mistake unless we learn from it. So that's what's important is as I document this, I'm also documenting a mistake that we could learn from heading towards the future. But I'm just doing it in an artistic lens.
Right.
So
yeah, you're really tied to your community and the people that you collaborate with a lot. So let's talk about some of those collaborations, because you're always finding new ways to change up the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
In the narrative. So let's talk about Grown Folks and what they wanted to do.
Absolutely. Sure. So Grown Folks, incredible hip hop band. If you don't know them, go to grownfolks.com and Google them. They're doing some really outstanding work. And I've been working with them for years on some visual elements on, how you could tell your story through images. What does branding look like? What does marketing look like? What do positions look like, and things of that nature. So I did a couple music videos for them. And here's the thing. I'm going to just keep it 100. I'm going to keep it a beam with y'all. I hate directing music videos. I've always had a bad experience with music videos, and some artists in the past haven't really valued music videos. They always want to do these performance videos. And what I mean by these performance videos is that they just want to stand up against a wall with graffiti and then just perform the song. Like back in the day, music videos were whole short movies.
Right.
And they had an underlining plot that explained the narrative that was beyond the song, right?
Right.
So when collaborating with the outstanding group Grown Folks, Masai Turner and Achilles Soon, they approached me and said, "Hey, May, we have this opportunity where we did 2 music videos already that they're good. We like them, but we wanted to do something different. So we wanted to collaborate you at being able to tell a story from a celebrating standpoint. Even through these times, we are blessed to be able to celebrate. And that, whether that's celebrating life, whether that's celebrating, finally working on that script that you wanted to work on, or finally writing that book that you always wanted to work on, celebrating each other at a time like this. So I connected with Masai and Achilles soon to put together something where we give out. And let's create sort of all these different pockets of how we can celebrate and give back to each other and give back to others.
Right.
And, I remember giving you a call and trying to get the information about Light of Life, because we've done a lot of work surrounding Light of Life. And I thought that they would be an excellent beneficiary to something like this. And when we called them, they were open arms. They said, hey, listen, we love to. How can we latch on to progress together? And we literally took 3 hours. We went all around Pittsburgh. We shot in various locations, and we gave out. We paid for people's groceries, paid for people's gas, donated to Light of Life Ministries on the north side. And when they posted it, it was finally released. It just blew up. All on the internet, went viral, made, the television, the news. And it was just really exciting to be able to use art in order to give back in that way.
I love that. And they're so kind. I mean, they're just a really great group. And let's just remember, your phone call was, hi, do you know who's at Light of Life? I was like, I had no idea what you're doing. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, I'll call them. I don't know what you're doing, but okay. So there wasn't a lot of conversation. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Which I think is amazing. So you also, the governor appointed you, and I'm going to screw up this, but you were on the Arts Council.
Yeah, still on the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts.
Yeah.
Yes.
So why did, or how long, that was a year, was it a year appointment? Is that how long it was? Or
no, it's pretty much, hold on just a second.
Yeah.
So
that's okay.
We understand.
Yeah.
My daughter is asking about a bike, if she can get a bike, and she's sending me purple and pink bikes. And
hey, she's researching.
I have a pink bike.
Yeah.
I also had a pink bike.
I told her a purple bike might help out. But yeah, I'm sorry. Repeat the question. Hopefully you can edit this out.
No, that's totally no, this is all live. We
do it live.
Yeah, the beautiful
raw. It's all raw.
Let's dive in. Go ahead. Repeat the question.
No, so the governor's appointment, in terms of what you do, because it's a lot of it is, especially with what you do with kids.
Got you.
And always the arts, and I think that's perpetuates additional exposure and additional meaning to life, and being able to get out of like your box that you're in when you grow up. I mean, I think we all kind of have like a narrow thought.
Yeah.
I think you've always been part of the forefront of pushing past that and saying, let's do something better.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was appointed to the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts in July of 2018. I've been on for 2 years now. There's no set time where they say, all right, cool, thank you so much for your service, be gone. People have been on the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts for years.
Oh, wow.
Some individuals, decades. Some individuals that have been on the council are Selma Burke, who designed the Dime, the Hines, Bill Strickland, have been on the Pennsylvania. Carol R. Brown, who's an absolute incredible legend. So to sit on the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts, we oversee, 20 plus million in grant funding over 67 counties statewide. So it's still mind blowing to me that the fact that I have the ability to serve as a voice for so many artists that require resources in order to do this outstanding work. And think about it. I want you two to think about it, especially our audience. Just imagine being quarantined without music, art, photography, poems, movies, for crying out loud, right?
Right.
Paintings. Just really imagine your quarantine being locked in the house by yourself or with a few others without any of these elements.
Right.
So art is serving as a prodigious vessel that is carrying the entire world through. And to serve on this council, you know, we're working 24 hours a day for artists throughout Pennsylvania in all 67 counties to be able to have the resources that they need to continue to create, at the same time keeping food in their refrigerator, keeping gas in their cars, and keeping their babies fed. So it is an honor to serve on the PCA, and I look forward to the future with PCA.
In your arts community, with the people that are a part of that, what are you finding most inspiring for you? Because as an artist and somebody that is really well versed in that community, and I mean, it's one thing in terms about the business in your mom's house and all that, and all of that, but the root of who you are really is in that art community. So when you look at this, who's inspiring you? Like, what are you watching? What are you seeing that you're like, I can keep going? Because even though you're staying at a level of high performance, there are still those moments, I would think, that are like, I can't, I got nothing.
Yeah.
I have nothing. And I know sometimes it's just getting out of bed and taking the camera and going outside and trying to find something. But are you paying attention? Like, are you looking at anybody right now and going, they're...
So, you know, I'm inspired by everything, as I should, as all of us should be inspired by everything. But it's about how we download those ideas. You know, you ever had that point where you're cleaning something up, or, you know, you're in a bathroom or something, or you're walking or driving, and you just get this idea that snaps in your head. And you got to find either a sheet of paper or, you know, your phone to be able to write this idea down. So as artists, we get these downloads all the time, but it's how we download, or it's how we widen our bandwidth to interpret this idea or this download. So inspiration comes from everywhere on a constant basis. Inspiration never stops. I think the time inspiration stops is the time that my body expires, and only my spirit will occupy this frequency, in this dimension. But, you know, with that inspiration, we have to package pieces from different places. Think of inspiration like paint. The more paint you have, the more image that you can put on life's canvas. The more we don't travel, the more we don't connect, the more we don't collaborate, guess what? You're probably going to have maybe one or two colors. And that's probably going to make for a very boring image. So put yourself out there. And that's what I do. I put myself out there in order to grab different colors from different experiences and different colors from different people. And then I internalize that, open my bandwidth, I allow all of that to be downloaded in the flow, and then I just start to create. I'm not necessarily on any big time level as any other artist, but there is a difference between how artists package their work or package what it is that they do. So even now during this pandemic, is how do we take panic out of that word pandemic, right? And how do we put that panic to the side and still create? So during this pandemic or this panic, I've been trying my best to help artists to take this time to get to the next level. So if that's helping Nick Nice put together a stop and drop where 100+ cars drop off donations for Light of Life Ministries, if that's directing a music video for grown folks that is doing a lot of work, or if that's designing a logo for DJ Selecta and helping him, you know, to get to the next level and use this time, that is what I need to do as an artist, is not just be an artist, but try to help others.
Does that feel, I mean, does that, you know, they talk about the drops, you put drops in, you take drops out. And it's, you know, in terms of, because I know being inspired by everything, but is there a source that you go to? I know that helping helps. and kind of satiates that moment of need. But is there anything that you're listening to or watching or paying attention to that you dip into?
Sure. Okay, so I am listening to a lot of John Coltrane.
Okay.
Especially a lot of early John Coltrane, in sort of a little bit of his early timeline. And the reason why, people could think this is weird or whatever the case is, but this is how my brain processes, is that John Coltrane's horn produces a lot of frequency that heals me.
Really?
And there's frequency in his horn. The way he played was unlike any other musician in life. And the way his phrases, his musical phrases, and what notes he would always try to stay in was fascinating to me. And knowing what John Coltrane went through and how he was still, he still had the ability to carry his life through his music is how I like to do it. There's certain songs that I would listen to at the same exact time every single week. There was like one or two songs that I would listen to only on Sundays. There were certain songs that I would listen to only on Fridays, only on Wednesdays, and things of that nature. Because, all right, so here's the thing. I call it Hilgorithm. Some people, like, there's the word algorithm, right? But I put hill mixed with algorithm, and I create Hilgorithms. And Hilgorithms are certain appointments and certain things that I do in my life as an artist that inspire me. One Hilgorhythm could be eating at 7 o'clock every single day. Another Hilgorhythm could be working out at 6 in the morning every single day. That trains your mind to heal at certain benchmarks and milestones during the day. And John Coltrane has been a part of that Hilgorhythm that has inspired me to transfer into what it is that I do in arts. It makes me a better artist.
And is music a big part of that source in terms?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you think about music is this sophisticated calculations of frequencies that are paired and matching in harmony at different spaces in time. You can't hear music, or should I say, you can't see music, you can hear music. And what underscores how rhythm heals is if you think of a laser. You understand what I'm saying? You ever think of the beams of a laser and how the frequency has to be? Or if you look at a fan, you can do this. If you look at a fan, if the fan is off, you can see the entire fan. But if you turn that sucker on and it goes really fast, essentially it will disappear. So everything is a rhythm. And everything that I do, from photography, from filming, is a rhythm. When I edit a video, there's a certain rhythm. When I edit a film, there's certain rhythms in the music that have to match the images, or it's not going to work for me.
Right.
And when people watch it and when they feel a soundtrack that's a part of the image, that's very real. And that's something that can't fly over us.
In this, I mean, I agree with you, and we won't have Courtney sing because I don't think you'll get the same healing properties.
I've been practicing all day. Don't take that away from me.
Yeah, we'll save everyone. I'm only kidding. But here we are. You're in this moment as an artist, as somebody that owns a business, and and a lot of things have paused or moved or whatever. I mean, what's the next look like? We were talking to Bradley yesterday about the apparel fashion industry and what's coming up and what's new and what's next. And we've talked to Mia Tarducci and Jeremy Raymer and just talk about create and what that looks like. Even Nisha from who's their whole thing turned into masks, which is unbelievable. But you know, what's the next for you? I mean, you have the Optic Voices, but what do you think the next year, year and a half, 2 years looks for what you want to do?
Sure, absolutely. So what's next for me? We're still putting the final touches on Optic Voices Mama's Boys. And Mama's Boys will feature mothers of Mike Brown, mothers of Philandro, Antoine Rose, the second. And the exhibit is about the stories of mothers. A lot of people, you know, they often associate, you know, the grief with the sons or the slain or the murder.
Right.
But people forget the stories about these mothers and the close connection that these mothers had to these sons.
Mm-hmm.
So Optic Voices Mama's Boys, we're putting together the exhibit for that, the photography. We're building an Optic Voices app that would house all the iterations of Optic Voices, with some bonus material in there as well. Maybe some bonus material from Eye of the Needle, which, you know, we'll talk about, team. And how can we package this exhibit to go national? We've been local, but we're taking Optic Voices Mama's Boys completely national,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully international, with these stories that need to be told.
Mm-hmm.
And then also I'm working on a film called The Gray Area, which is going to be a full feature film about the systematic racist and also the parallels between Jewish people and African Americans. In the plot, that there's so many parallels and there's so many similarities and cross cultures dealing with that. And one of the reasons why I called it a gray area is, of course, when you mix the color white, the color black, you get gray. But the double meaning behind that is that when you talk about slavery, it's a gray area in our culture. When you talk about the Holocaust, sometimes it's often a gray area. No one wants to talk about it.
Right.
But, you know, I with this film, I want to take the mat, lift it up, and all that information that's under that mat and has been there for decades, let us not continue to walk over it when you walk in the threshold of these homes. Let us remove that mat and let's get through it.
Mm-hmm.
So with this film, we're going to talk about 5 to 6 sectors of parallels between African Americans and Jewish people.
Wow.
From going to Auschwitz and filming. But guess what? Our Auschwitz was the point of no return in Africa, you know, where the port where all the slaves would be taken, in the point where they would never return. How Anne Frank would use writing is the same how Maya Angelou would use writing. How music really helped Jewish people get through in poetry is the same how hymnals in during slavery, how we would actually put together certain songs that would actually send messages to other people without saying a word.
Mm-hmm.
Or how in our culture in slavery, how we would do cornrows and how we would put certain herbs in cornrows in order to sneak in to certain places on a plantation to heal each other.
Wow.
You know, and a lot of people don't understand the history behind a hairstyle as simple as cornrows.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what we need to get back to. And that's what's up next, is continuing with this art and continuing to crystallize and fossilize these great stories.
I love that.
I love that.
I love that. That's
Powerful.
Well, you can tell how your photography has developed, you know, and how it's kind of culminated all of these ideas, because you've always been one to hit somebody right in the face with something, and you've done it gently. You've done it, it's gone direct, but it's been a gentle blow. Some people don't know that you're hitting them hard, and I think that's what's pretty amazing about that. So
it really
well, thank you so much. I appreciate it immensely, and just being able to have this platform, this vehicle for us as artists to be able to talk. My hat is off to both of you, and I really appreciate what you're doing during this time.
Thanks, Emmai. It was good to see you.
Always good seeing you.
Always good to see you. Yep. Go buy a purple.
I was like, you need to go buy a bike.
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to get to this bike situation right now.
Yes, I'm sure she's waiting for you. So,
All right.
All right, take care, y'all. Appreciate it.
bye. Thank you.
Flying scooter for life. Flying scooter for life.
Bye, May.